Okay, so here's your first problem. I shortened it a little because, as you can see, aren't you lucky? I don't have to write a lot of things. My handwriting's horrible, and I don't like to write, probably because it's horrible. But anyways, what it's pretty much saying is that you have a tanker that can hold 3,166,353 barrels of oil. Each barrel has 42 gallons in it. So if you can hold this many barrels, and each barrel has this amount in it, how many gallons would it hold? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the number of barrels you have times the amount of gallons it's in each barrel, okay, and then you'll get your answer. Now your answer is going to be 132,900. Hold on, 986,826. Because it is a multiple choice problem, you do want to look and see they did round it. So they actually rounded it to the 2 decimal places. They rounded it right here. So they really rounded it to the nearest million, just so you know. So this 9 makes this go up to a 3. So they rounded it to 133 million. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put this in scientific notation. That means we're going to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places. Okay, so that means I have 1.33 times 10 to the 8. Now, if it is a big number, is this a big number? Yes, so it's positive. Had this been a small number, it'll be negative. That's how you know if it's a -8 or +8. All right, so number 2, it's asking you how many moons could fit inside the Earth. So what they did was they actually calculated, this is the volume of the moon, this is the volume of the Earth. So how many of these can go in here? So you're going to divide the Earth by the moons. So you'll divide them individually. I'm going to take 1 and divide it by 2, or 1.0 and divide it by 2.0. And then that'll be times, and it's 10 to the 12th divided by 10 to the 10th. So I will be subtracting 12 minus 2. Sorry, 12 minus 10, gave you the answer, is 2. And you're going to divide 1 by 2. Now, if you divide 1 by 2, that's 0.5 times, and then you have 10 to the 12 minus 10 is 2. And again, if it had been negative, I would have just had a -2, but it's a positive. Now, this is not between the number of 1 and 9, so we cannot use this number. I do have to move it decimal place over here. So it is going to be a big number, okay? So you notice none of these had negatives in it, so it's a big number. So we're going to go ahead and make it 5.0 times 10. It'll be 10 to the first. Okay, so 5.2 times 10 to the first. Well, how do you know which direction you go? One more time. If it's a small number, it'll be negative. So we moved it 1 unit, but because it's small, we did subtraction of 1 and not addition. How can you do that if you're not really for sure? So how are you going to remember that, when you're taking the ACT? So you always take that number right there and put in the calculator, that 0.5 times 10 to the second. Put in the calculator. That's going to tell you your answer is 50. So if you know your answer is 50, then you place that number into scientific notation, right? So 50 is a big number. We would have to move it 1 unit. So that would be 5.0 times 10 to the, and again, it's a big number. It's a positive. So you can kind of look at it that way too, whichever way you want. All right, we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to multiply. So I'm going to really use my calculator for this, just so you can see what we're doing. I'm not going to worry about, I don't know if I should round or not because it all depends on multiple choice tests. I'm going to go ahead and try just to write the whole thing out. So when you're doing this, you're going to multiply the numbers, and then you will add the exponents. Now, because it's scientific notation, you are allowed to leave the negatives in the problem, okay? So I'll multiply. We're going to get 9.407 times 10 to the, and add. -6 plus -5 is -11. That one's in scientific notation, and you're done. There's no changing it. This is already between number and 1 and 10. It can't be over. It has to be 9 point something. It can't go to 10. You're good. All right. The next one. Going to multiply and add. So 5.8. Hopefully you can see my screen. You can. Times 2. So it's 11.6. Hopefully you can see already. I'm going to have to do something to that. Times, and then 10 to the -6 plus 4. That's 10 to the -2. -6 plus 4, you don't know. -2. All right, so I have my -2. That's fine. I'm good. Now remember, if you don't know what to do from here, you don't know if you're going to be adding or subtracting that number, let's go ahead and make this number an actual number. So if I had 10 to the -2, that means you are taking, and I'll show you, you're taking and making it smaller, because remember, if it's negative, it's a small number. So I'm going to move it 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So this is the number, original number, and I need to make it into scientific notation. That means I'll be just moving it 1 number to the right, but it is going to be positive. So that's going to be 1.16 positive. When I say that, small, it's going to be small, not positive. And you're going to be moving it 1, and this is a small number, so it's -1. Sorry about that. I don't know why I said positive. All right, number 5. All right, we're dividing. So it's the same process. We're going to divide the numbers, and then we'll subtract the exponent. So let's divide 7.8 divided by 8. That's 0.975. I'm going to scoot this the best I can where you can see it. Times 10 to the, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. So far so good, but it is a small number, remember? So if you times that by 10 to the third, so we're going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and make it a 10 to the third. So and you can use the calculator, but you are just moving it over. It'll be 975, but I'm just going to show you. So you have 975. Now to make that in scientific notation, it's a big number. You're going to move it twice. So that'll be 1.75 times 10 to the second. So think about it. You would have had to go in 1, so that would have moved that 1 down. You're taking away a multiplication of 10 when you move it to the right, if that makes sense or helps. All right, number 6. So 5.3, and hopefully you have a calculator home you can do some of this with, or at least Desmos brought up. So 5.3, and I left off the point, divided by 7.65. It's going to be 0. Now I'm going to go ahead and round just because that's a lot of digits. Let's go ahead and round. Let's not round. Let's go ahead and write it. If we round, then it's going to be a whole bunch of zeros, and I'm not for sure. I wouldn't rather have the numbers than the zeros. So 9, 2, 8, 1, 0, 4, 5, 7, 5. All right. And times 10 to the, and then I subtract 3 minus 5. That's -2. And again, you do have to move it. Now it's a really small number, as you can see. I'm going to move it to the right one. Okay. So again, I'm making it larger by 1/10. So I'm going to take one of those away. So it'll be 6.928104575 times 10 to the, and again, if you think about it this way, you would have, at this -2 here, we would have been making it smaller by 2, but when I went ahead and moved it 1, we're going to go ahead and add 1, or I guess make it smaller to that number. So again, if you do not know which direction to go, -2, +1, or -1, okay? So you go to the right, and you're making it, you're technically on this one, we were making it smaller. We needed more multiplications to get it back where it was. So I needed to add an extra one up here. So again, if you don't know what to do, I would type that in the calculator with the negative. Then I would go back and place this into scientific notation. So real quick, I'll show you. This with the 10 to the -2nd typed into the calculator. Here's the, let me see that. The 10 to the -2nd. This was the actual number up here. Okay, that's the actual number. So if I'm going to move this into scientific notation, it's a very small number, and I'm going to move it 3 places to the right because it's very small. It's a -3, right? So then you have your 6.9281045 times 10 to the -3. So again, if you get stuck at this point and don't know what to do, you're going to go ahead and put it back into regular notation. Just use your calculator. And then you should be able to put it back into scientific notation yourself by counting, oh, it's 3 spaces. So instead of going 1 place, we went 3 now. So meaning don't subtract the 1, getting it 1, go up 1 to 3. All right, if you have questions, holler at me. The ones on the quiz are not nearly that difficult, but go ahead and use your Desmos. Do not forget to do that. I may have to add that link into that quiz to try to remind you to use that. All right, good luck.